Welcome to Logjam Season 4, celebrating Season 14 of the League of Gentlemen.
I mean, it is crazy. I'm proud of the consistency we've had as far as the league. I'm proud of us. You know, 4 seasons is quite it's a hotel, but it's also quite an accomplishment.
An undertaking, if you will, to do this every week. And I love it. Setting up, this is the new studio. This is going to be the permanent home this season, a dedicated space for the first time in 4 years.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. It's it's a brand new season. It's that feeling that anything can happen. Even incredible sets for the Logjam, which is awesome. Tom's put a lot of work into this, so we appreciate it.
We're loving it. We kept up last year's board, as in, you know, we didn't have enough zeros to put, you know, everybody's 0-0. It's a new season.
Yeah.
That is what it looks like last week. The Zorros ran away with it. They are the defending champion, but everyone's back to take a swing, huh?
Everybody is back to take a swing, you know, and looking back at this past year, if we do some quick, this number still blows me away, Tom. 2,025 points from the Zorros. I'd just like to, again, congratulate the Zorros on quite an awesome year last year. Pretty much a historic year as far as points scored. So
it's not the only 2,000 point season in league history. We were going to track back in to get some of that information, but none of the people that signed up to do historian type duties did any of that this year, so we don't really know for sure, but we're guessing it's in the top 3 or 4 scores of all time, season-wise. Championship, congratulations. There we go. How was the draft, buddy?
I think it went very well. The draft was approximately 2 hours exactly, which cut down from 3 to 3.5 in the past. So great job, just being efficient. You know, thanks for everybody who attended, and you know, I know it was difficult for some of you. Corey in particular had to drive down from Pine Top, starting at 4 in the morning. But we do appreciate that, Corey. Billy, you know, driving from Mesa with no air conditioning.
You also don't have air conditioning, and you've got to come from Las Vegas. So a
lot
lot of people making a lot of effort to get to that draft, and we appreciate those people.
We do. That being said, we do have to kind of address the Ezekiel elephant in the room here, which is the part of our rule book which talks about the lack of participation at meetings, the lack of attendance at meetings, and somewhat building a pattern, which in the rule book is stated as truancy, which Tom will give you a better definition of. It
is truancy. The meetings are stated as mandatory. I don't think we've had a complete everyone's there meeting in a couple of years. Obviously, COVID made some differences. Sure. We did, you know, kind of go to Zooms, but between birthday parties in Vegas and different things that have, it is tough to schedule everyone here, but you're supposed to be at the meetings.
Yeah. That being said, we've tried to do some things to correct that as far as already scheduling next year's draft. We've tried to do some things to alleviate the ability to be missing these meetings, but that being said, you know, last minute dropouts without, you know, true commissioner exemptions for those meetings are unacceptable. So we do have to address that. There is a rule, like I just stated in the rule book, that says if there is truancy of an organization or a franchise, that it would be determined by the commissioner or by the league scheduling master, that they would determine whether this person were on suspension or good terms or probation. I didn't want to do that. That was kind of an Ari thing to control the league, or his say is the rule. So at the meeting or at the draft, we discussed doing this as a group and it not being 1 or 2 persons' decisions. As everything we do in this league, we vote as a group. So we did take that vote as a group, and as of now, the Merci Beaucoup, missing this meeting, a truancy of past meetings, being late to points where we call him and he's waking up saying, oh, that's today. This is the type of stuff that will get you on that list, and currently the Merci Beaucoup are on that list. So please don't miss any current or future meetings. I would say it's probably at this point at least a 2-year probation. So if you enjoy this league, you need to start attending the meetings. That said, It's
a tough conversation to have, absolutely.
It is. This isn't fun for anyone.
Yeah, and there was a couple of moments at the draft where maybe some lines might have been crossed, and a gentleman, I guess, not understanding the rules of where the champions tables are and who can sit where, and kind of, jumping up and crowding the guys that got there and established at their table early. I don't think that was appropriate. Maybe I, got a little heavy-handed in trying to maybe get him down off that table, but I don't think he was supposed to be there. Gary, I think in fairness, that was a pretty shitty move.
You get there on time, not 10 minutes late, so that you can establish where you're going to sit, your power cord, your setup. We've all done this for years. And by not getting there early to set that up,
by not tracking your own draft, by not being professional,
these are by not showering. I mean, these are things that should be required coming to the league meeting. And I understand that the champions table, maybe Gary didn't understand that right away, and that's fine. Maybe we should have said something prior to that. That's all good. But to be over someone's shoulder looking at their material because maybe you didn't bring your own or you're not tracking it as well, that's not what this league's about whatsoever. So let's just move forward and say we've learned that, this is what we expect from you as a member of this league. And for all of you who participated properly, thanks for being gentlemen.
Absolutely. That's tough stuff's out of the way. One more note on scheduling and meetings while we're doing it.
Sure.
We do have Sunday, August 28th as the keeper draft. Tuesday, September 6th, scheduled as the actual draft next year, which leaves just the midseason meeting. Because of the extension of the regular season, we're going to 14 weeks of regular season games. Lots of discussion as to when the right time to do that is. Traditionally, it has been with 3 weeks to go in the League of Gentlemen season. We've cut off trades. So at that point, week 10 this year, looks like it will be after week 11. Those games end September 15th. So somewhere between Sunday the 14th and let's say Tuesday or Wednesday the 17th, we're going to try to get that league meeting scheduled, and we'll keep you posted as to where that goes.
And being in November, being that time, I believe, right? In November at that time, that's okay. But in November at that time, it was going to be just before Thanksgiving, so that'll give everybody an opportunity to have all their Thanksgiving plans. As we talked about it, it also will keep those. 6 teams make the playoffs. So if we're waiting until 1 week before the playoffs, we're going to have a limited amount of really participants,
buyers,
I believe.
and sellers,
So if we can do it where what we're trying to do is get it also where that 7 and 8 team that are buying, or 7, 8, 9, whatever it is. I mean, last year was crazy, right? So we want that participation of those trades and that real awesome feel at that time. So as Tom stated, right now we're looking at
November 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th era. We'll pin that down. We'll text about it. We'll get you there. That moves us into recapping the actual activity at the draft. While we're here, we got our teams. Everyone's together. We are going to use, for lack of a better term, ESPN's appreciation of our draft. We're going to start with who ESPN thinks has the best draft, and that is Benter's Fury.
Benter's Fury. Not only does ESPN think that was the best draft, but I heard multiple times that Chris Benner felt that was the best draft. Best draft ever. So I'm
he's got to be the happiest. He gets his rookie running back, Najee Harris. He was, he's licking his chops to get that.
Burrow on his
Guy's
team.
45 minutes late for the keeper draft, but he was ready to go for this one. He gets Jamar Chase, his Bengals rookie. Lots of Chiefs, lots of Cardinals, and lots of Bengals.
Yeah, all 3 teams. He got AJ Green back on his squad. I know he was happy. Like you said, he got Stonehenge Chase on his team, which I'm sure he's happy about. Burrow. I mean, there is a lot of Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I really like Chris's team. I mean, I might not be excited as he is about his team, but hell of a draft.
No, it's a good team. And I mean, the one kind of glaring downside is the Week 12 Cardinals and Chiefs bye.
Yes.
When the Bengals are also going to get COVID and you won't have anybody to play, so that's probably a loss. Yes. Congratulations, Corey, on your win over the Fury.
We did look it up. Congratulations, Corey.
But outside of that, it's a good draft, man. Chris Benner looking to get back on the title.
Absolutely.
The number 2 team, according to ESPN, probably not surprisingly, Los Zorros.
The Zorros, the thing that really... when I look back at his draft recap, that I didn't really realize maybe at the time was he had hardly any picks in the first 5 or 6 rounds. I mean, he had some great keepers that were late, but still, that doesn't that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to produce talent in those mid rounds. I think Joel did a great job at maneuvering picks, at finding that mid round talent. I still think not having early picks, and he still comes out of the draft with what I'm looking at as possibly a championship team.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with success. Obviously, he's been doing this for a while. That draft capital to him, he's found a way to exploit some resources and has done a great job with it. I was interested in the Aaron Rodgers trade. I don't know if that's sentimental value, but going and putting that Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams stack together on top of everything he has, I think it's a little bit of a rosy future for the Zorros.
And obviously he does too, because he showed up with a damn Aaron Rodgers jersey, so it obviously was sentimental to him. What a great keeper value that is in the 15th round. We're talking about last year's MVP. When we do analyze that draft, I believe the draft, I'm pretty sure it was, Gary traded his 8th round pick and Aaron Rodgers to move up to the 2nd, which after the draft we can look back in that, and basically that trade is Aaron Rodgers and Hollywood Brown for Amari Cooper. So, not the worst trade on either side, I don't think, but it definitely worked out for Joel to get back his coveted Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, he did. So I think anytime you're running Kittle, Kamara, and Derrick Henry at people, you're going to have a chance to win every week. So there's no surprise that the
He's
Zorros...
got the Bucks and the Steelers as his two Ds.
No surprise Zorros a favorite. Another one with a lot of draft capital. ESPN thinks Merci Beaucoup came in with the 3rd best roster.
I don't know that I disagree, but that's what I think we've started to see the blueprint. At least some of us, when you're going to be out of a particular year, to trade and get those early round picks and just build for the future. I know it hurts to get rid of some of your keepers that you want to hold on to, that you're sentimental to, but I think the Pimps kind of laid that down once. The Zorros kind of followed the blueprint. And here we are with Merci Beaucoup following the same blueprint, and it looks like it's going to work out for him to have a very competitive team.
Had 18 guys drafted in the first 10 rounds, and then again pieced out, left the rest of the draft. But that is what it is. It's impressive, man. It shows a competence to work the waiver wire, to work the trades, to be able to put yourself in that position. He's got a lot of young talent.
He's got an immense amount of depth.
I don't know. It seemed out of place to have to trade up to get a couple of quarterbacks that I think were going to be there with any of those picks. But with all that capital, I mean, it's a great draft. I don't know what else you can say about it.
And he moved up to get Dak. I think there's a lot of hype on Dak, whether it's because you've been watching
Hard Knocks.
Or that always seems
the
to be the case.
Old Hard Knocks hype, ADP bump for those guys.
But Prescott's a stud. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's got a lot to be excited about. If nothing else, massive depth. We'll have some matchup, I would imagine, advantages going into every week because he's going to have a bunch of guys that can score. So if that's a good team, ESPN puts the Gares Scoregasm as the 4th best squad. Do you agree?
I think that the talent is on this team for sure, so I think he does. I think he had a good draft. I think that he does have some depth there. But to me, the run game is very strong in his organization. The only thing, and I've stated this before, it just doesn't. I guess it really doesn't matter. But seems to be a lot of Cowboys on this team. So that being said, we'll see how that works out for him.
Could be a fantastic offense. How do you know who to start? I mean, are you starting both Cooper and CeeDee Lamb at the same time? Who knows what's happening with Judy Callaway? I think he's banking on having a great year with who is that? Is it Jameis Winston? Throw in there in New Orleans.
The one pick that I really like that he did make. I mean, he made plenty of good picks and all that. But I like the Justin Fields pick. I gotta say that the Mr. Irrelevant being Justin Fields could be a very good keeper and just might wash that Aaron Rodgers right away.
Yep, a little hometown late round QB with some legs. Yeah, a lot to look forward there in Gary's land. Number 5, the Sin.
I think he's very well rounded. I think the best pick he made was his kicker. I really do. Young Hoku was my MVP last year. So the guy makes 50-yard field goals in his sleep if he can find his shoes now. But
sure. I like this draft for the Sin. I thought he was pretty utile or practical in those first couple of rounds, getting guys that are going to produce. A-Rod, there are questions there, but again, if we like Justin Fields, by proxy, we must like A-Rod to blossom over the course of the year. Miles Sanders is going to get him some points. It's a team, I mean, I don't know if I have them as the 5th best squad right here, but I think it was a good draft for Corey.
I would say this. I would say that if, giving up Christian McCaffrey probably had to hurt a little, and I think it really well-rounded his team. I just don't know that he got enough out of the draft to have moved that particular player.
Yeah.
But that's to be seen.
We will see. That brings us to the Avalon Avengers. We hate this draft. This was a terrible draft. You can't walk out of a draft with a handful of Jets and think you've done a good job.
I don't disagree with you. I know we talked about this a little bit in pre-show prep, and I don't really know if you realized how many Jets you were drafting. But at the same time, maybe the 50-year history of a shitty organization changes this year, or maybe the history of a great organization changes this year. But I would say that there is limited to no chance of the Avengers seeing postseason.
Terrible squad. They're terrible. We'll move on. Next, the Titans. Lots of production on this team as well.
Yes, I think he had a solid draft. I think the only real little worry he may have, which maybe all of us have, is lack of running back depth, right? I mean, like Mike Davis, maybe Mike Davis becomes a stud, or is a stud. I don't know. But I think maybe that's the one little area. Also, once again, he has more Chargers than my daughter, who is a tech freak, but again, it seemed to work out for him.
It has. He for a guy that claims to be like a Raiders fan and a Cardinals fan, sometimes it sure seems like that hometown San Diego cooking is something that Will enjoys. There was a couple of rounds where he was either immediately or 1 or 2 picks before me for being a spacer, just the way it worked out. And ended up taking a couple of guys that I was looking at, some production guys, Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd. Mm-hmm. I think this is a productive, if not potential playoff team.
I definitely see this as a maybe a 4-5, depending on moves, could get up into that top 3. There's other teams with the Zorros and the Fury and even Mercy. There's other teams that I see that are a little bit stacked more than Billy, but at the same time, I think he did a great job in his draft, like you said, targeting particular players. And really well-rounded. So
ESPN has them at 7. I'd say it's maybe a little bit higher than that. The 8th team, the Pimps.
Yeah, I think they're right where they should be. I think ESPN is on the money here with 8. I don't think it's the worst draft the Pimps have ever had, but it definitely doesn't come out as a playoff team to me. So there's work to be done for the Pimps if we're going to look for any type of postseason activity.
All right, I will trust your judgment there. Number 9, I really have a bone to pick with ESPN here. Who's your daddy is better than none.
Yeah, this is. I know it was stated in our league chat, and it was very funny when Corey said, that it must be some type of family issue, but I don't think so. I think Daddy has a very good team. As a matter of fact, looking at his. We're talking about Michael Thomas coming back possibly, and him running some crazy wide receiver sets, and I would think Daddy is a team to look out for sure. So if you want to overlook him and you want to circle him on your schedule as a win, go for it. But I know we're not doing that.
I mean, as a homer, the Julio Jones pick in round 1 was crushing. It does show that there was some value there in a 4th or 5th round keeper, and I was surprised I couldn't move him at some point, that somebody didn't want to grab him, but it just was time for the Avengers to break up. Kyle Pitts at 3,
great pick.
That could be a league winner.
Yeah,
there is a little bit of risk with any kind of rookie pass catcher. I just think that guy in that offense, filling the void of a Julio Jones that leaves as a pass catcher, I think there is good things to be seen.
And he also, got Julio Jones, speaking of Julio Jones. So he's got both of those guys on his squad now. And how do you have that good of a draft be discounted by an organization while you're making Baked Zeta for the entire I mean, thank you again, Daddy, for just a high-quality hosting. If anything, you're a Hall of Fame hoster.
League of Gentlemen Hall of Famer, for
Absolutely.
sure. Last but not least, we'll keep it in the Farrell family. Young Confused, picked by ESPN as the 10th worst team. What do you think about that, D?
I think it's to be determined. I don't know that he had the best draft ever. I think it hurt losing like keepers that he had, like Deshaun Watson. I think things like that might have hurt a bit. But he went and acquired Saquon Barkley, which I don't know if Saquon's a question mark, but maybe he is a question mark. But at the same time, he could just come and dominate the league with having having the new I don't know what his name is, but the new quarterback there and a new style of offense with Kenny Galladay stretching the field. I mean, maybe Barkley comes right back and helps him out. David Montgomery, on the other hand, is his second running back. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But overall, I don't think he had the worst draft. I don't have him making the playoffs right now. I don't believe, but
well, I think a lot is going to hinge on he has invested pretty heavily in the Rams and that Sean McVay.
Yeah.
That could be a league winner. He's got if I left the keeper draft thinking, wow, I can't believe Matthew Stafford got kept, but. I mean, ultimately, it was a better value than Deshaun Watson was going to be.
For sure.
And again, a guy that went that is a bench stash, but not a keeper.
No.
I think Young has some potential to get there if it all goes right.
He went and got Tyler Higbee, so he has his double dip there, which we all know Matt Stafford loves the dump to the tight end, especially in the red zone. So again, I don't think it was the worst draft. I think there is a lot of potential there. Again, I still think there needs to be moves made and like David Montgomery, just some things to play out for him.
All in all, congratulations, fellas.
Yeah.
The 14th draft of the League of Gentlemen was a success.
Yes.
We are putting a couple things together in this pod that usually we're kind of spread out given the short week. We usually do matchups. Wanted to pick this week's winner?
Sure. Yeah, we'll start with the Pimps versus Merci. And as I've already stated in what the teams look like, there's not going to be enough time to really make some moves to improve these rosters prior to week one. I have Merci almost in a runaway here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think that Merci draft, he's going to start off on the right foot. I am taking Merci in this one. Game number 2 on the board. Who's your daddy traveling to the Avalon Avengers? As we stated in that draft recap, my team's terrible. His team's fantastic. This is an easy pick for Daddy. I got Daddy.
I would agree with what you just said. I think we stated it when we were talking about how we drafted, and I think Daddy's underrated, and neither one of us are going to overlook that, and I have Daddy as well.
Matchup 3, Gare's going to Young and Confused. Who do you like?
Here, I like the Scoregasms, but really it's going to be a big Thursday night for the Scoregasms. So heavily invested in this Cowboy offense. The one, Zach Martin, if you're paying attention,
sure.
their stud guard is not playing, from what I understand. How will that affect the run game? How will that affect the outside tackles and the rush on Dak Prescott? How is that? So, and heavily invested in that offense, I'm just interested to see if he can get out of the gate Thursday. I think he does. I'm going to take the Scoregasms.
Well, a lot riding on that shoulder of Dak Prescott. There were some reports and then false reports about whether he is going to be healthy or what that meant coming out of Schefter's mouth. We saw what this Dallas team looks like without Dak Prescott last year, and it wasn't pretty.
No.
I think I'm going to take Young and Confused here. I'll go the other way.
Fair enough. Next one would be the Cardinals center visiting the Zorros.
Yeah, I think this is, despite what I think might be potentially a playoff team coming from the Sin, I think the Zorros are the class of this matchup.
And I think you said it when you highlighted, when you have to go against Kamara and Kittle and even Aaron Rodgers has, I think, a little bit of a statement to make. If he already had made one last year as MVP, I think he'll come out and make another one this year. So I will also, in this matchup, take the Zorros.
All right. We both went undefeated in these picks last year. I don't know if we went back and we were 100% correct, so there's a lot riding on these picks.
And now that legal gambling in the state of Arizona, I would think that you would be sharing this podcast with your friends as a way to make some income.
Absolutely. You got some money to be made on these games.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, the Titans travel to the Fury.
The Titans versus the Fury, I have this as the possible game of the week. I really do, and I'm going to take... He doesn't have his starting lineup in. I'm pretty sure he's going to play Patrick Mahomes, but anyway, I'm going to take in this matchup the Fury.
Yeah, I think you have to. Weather typically isn't an issue in week one. There's no kind of. I don't think there's any stopping that Chief offense. I think this is a Fury win.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's picks. Before we get out, do you want to take a stab at the playoff teams?
Yeah, sure. This is completely random, and I think out of all the playoff teams last year that we did pick prior to, we missed one. I think we missed one if we look back. So again, set your clocks by this because you're probably gonna make some money. I'm gonna put in to the playoffs the Zorros, Who's Your Daddy, the Poway Titans, Benner's Fury, Merci beaucoup. And with that last spot, I'm going to take the Cardinal Sin.
Cardinal Sin in the playoffs. We have a lot of overlap there. I think Daddy probably is your 1 seed this year. I think the Zorros and the Fury are battling out for the bye.
Second bye.
I have Merci at 4. I have the Gares at 5.
Okay. I can see that as well.
I am a coin flip. Sin Titans, Titans Sin. I have the Titans making the playoffs in the 6th spot, and that would mean the Pimp, Avengers, Cardinal Sin continuous streak of not making the playoffs, and the Young and Confused would all be out of the playoffs.
Well, I think we have a one difference there. You have the Scoregasms in and the Sin out. I have the Sin in and the Scoregasms out. But other than that, it sounds like we agree on what might happen at the end of this year. So.
Boys and girls, good luck with the season. I hope everyone wins a championship.
I do too. It can't happen.
No, it can't.
But I don't think either one of us think it's going to happen at this table this year. So.
Oh, no, there's not a chance. Not a chance any of these teams win. So we will see you guys later.